Today we're making shiitake risotto. Now I had these mushrooms that we purchased. It's a mushroom block that we purchased from the mushroom shed in Chwilog. So we're going to harvest, this is the second lot we've taken off the one block. So we're going to harvest some of these. I've got some Welsh butter, one big onion, some white wine. You don't have to use white wine. We're going to use a litre of stock, and included in that is some wine, and 300 grams of risotto rice. Very simple ingredients, great if you're a veggie, great if you're not, just great taste. So I'm going to harvest these mushrooms, get them ready, weigh them, and then we'll come back to you. So I've zeroed my scales, and I'm going to be taking off the bottom ones because they're slightly trickier. So I'm just going to move this over so you can get a better look. Can you see it, Henry? I wish I could take this bag off, but I might need to put it back on, and it's gone too wide to get off. So you can see, you just come right to the edge of the mushroom and take them off. It's very satisfying, and I tell you what, kids would love this. I mean, we're getting excited because it grew in, I think, 3 to 4 days, and you could visibly, even from the morning to the afternoon, see a difference. Can you see that, Henry, close up? Yeah. Beautiful mushrooms. And we've had some mushrooms on toast, and I picked quite a few, and they've got a really nutty taste. I've not had shiitake mushrooms before. I know it's lots of people, I don't know locally where I've seen them in the shops to buy here. So I'm just going to take off the ones this side, because you have to spray this with water, and some of the bottom ones tend to sit. Obviously, as you roll the bag down, some drop off. They tend to sit in water. So it's a close-up of one. They're nice raw too, because my hubby couldn't wait, so he had to eat one raw the other day. Now you could do this with dried mushrooms. I don't know your quantities. I can't imagine it being that worrying if you overdid the mushrooms. But I'm just going to take these till I know I've got enough, because this is your main ingredient. I'm going to take the ones from the bottom. Let's have a look. And some of them are just falling off anyway. So I'm going to leave the ones on the top because they are still quite small. And then what you do after, I'm going to spray that in a minute, and then you seal the bag with 2 pegs. The whole thing is, this block needs to be moist. So you can re-soak it once all your mushrooms are off and get a second crop. I think the second crop is a lot less. Now, from the mushroom shed in Chwilog, they've got a Facebook page. That was £10, a friend bought it for me, and obviously it was a lot heavier because it was a lot wetter. It comes in a plastic bag with your instructions in a box. What a great gift to give someone, even if they're not gardeners. It's very simple. You just put this on a plate and off you go, and just make sure if you've got a sprayer, spray it twice a day to keep it moist and out of direct sunlight. So there, I've got 200 grams of mushrooms, and I think that would be okay for our risotto. So I'm going to take these little tiny bits off, the rough bits that have some of this block on. I'm not going to wash them because I think they're fine. If you were taking them off and storing them, you keep them in a paper bag in the fridge. So I'm going to just take, if you can see these little rough, sort of almost like woody bits, the little tiny bits off the bottom there. And obviously that's going to be quite time consuming. So once that's done, I'll come back and we'll start at the hob and get busy. So I'm melting 40 grams of butter, and we use local butter where we can, especially at the moment. I turned the heat off while I was prepping everything, so I'll just get that back on. I've got just under a litre of stock, and what I've not put in, I've got in wine. I've got 300 grams of risotto rice, pre-washed, chopped onion. I've got my mushrooms, pepper, and we've had a discussion and we think it needs some garlic. So I'm using garlic granules because I've actually run out of fresh garlic. So what I'm going to do while the oil's heating up is just give this a good sprinkling because I've got to say, with the best will in the world, and as much as these mushrooms are very tasty, they do need a little bit of oomph. So we're going to put pepper in, good grind of that. I'm going to put some Himalayan salt. It's only a cheapy one because we can't find our grinder. I don't know where it's gone. So we're going to put some salt in. Now remember, we've got stock cubes tend to be a little bit salty, so that should be enough. So I'm turning the heat up now. Now I suppose if you were a vegan, you could use olive oil. I'm using butter because that's what I've used before. I remember 40 grams, so roughly chopped onions. Now you want to cook these until they are clear. Translucent, I think the word is. So we make sure we cover them. Now the reason you need so much butter is because this butter needs to coat the onion, the mushroom and the rice. And considering there's not a lot of other fat in this meal, you know, because you've just got the mushrooms, I don't see it as a problem really, because if you divide this up between each person, it's probably a lot lower than a ready meal or something like that. And as they say, butter's, well, oil's good for you, butter's okay too. So let that get a good coating. Now my pan's going to take a while to warm up. So I'll come back to you when I'm going to put mushrooms in. Now normally with a risotto, I slice the mushrooms. Let me just move that liquid out of the way. But how can I slice up those? And we don't mind chunky bits, and they will break down. So these are, just avoid the little bits that come off the block, our homegrown shiitake mushrooms fresh from the block. Now if I was going to go out picking mushrooms, I'm so worried that I'm going to pick the wrong thing. So for me, this is just a great way of, well, it's nice to say, I grew these, and you can watch them grow. I mean, it feels a bit like cannibalism because we watch them come up. Like all veg that you cook, you feel a bit precious about, or salad leaves, or because you've been waiting there. I've got some coriander out there at the moment and I'm watching it come up. Normally I buy it from the supermarket, it's like 80p, and you don't think anything of using the whole pot, and I'm like looking at 5 leaves thinking, come on now, you can grow, and I'm thinking that's not going to last long. But anyway, so give these a really nice cover, and look, I mean, look at that, aren't they gorgeous? By the way, I'm not sponsored by the Mushroom Shed. It's just I'm so pleased there's a local business doing something like that, near us, and it's nice to support them. And in lockdown, we've all been a little bit stir crazy, so growing mushrooms was very exciting. Now, for those of you that don't know North Wales very well, Chwilog is spelled C-H-W-I-L-O-G, and they're on Facebook, and I'm sure they send out as well, because my friend picked me one up through distance selling, and the lady there is very knowledgeable, so I'm sure she'll answer any questions you have. So here we go. So that's where we are now. The smell is fantastic. So now we're going to put in our 300 grams of risotto rice and give it a good sprinkle. Now I might add a bit more butter, to be honest, just so we get a bit more covering. Hang on a moment. So that was 40 grams, so I'm probably going to go for another 20 grams. Shock horror butter. Oh, it's great. Because if you're going through the effort with growing the mushrooms, we want it to taste really good. And we want to make sure we do it right. And so I'll adjust that on my ingredients. That's better, we've got a bit more covering. Now, for those of you that haven't cooked risotto before, and I'm not an expert, the risotto is different to a normal rice. You can use this recipe with a normal rice, but it's better to use brown basmati rice because it's got more of a nutty texture, which I might do next time to show people, that you can use it, because brown rice never really gets soft, so it's quite a good alternative. The same amount would be good, and the basmati just gives it a bit more of a taste. But for those of you that haven't cooked it, the risotto, it comes out quite creamy, but the risotto rice, you want to have a very little bit of a bite. You don't want it like pudding. Sorry about all the appliance noise in the background. Washing dishwashers and God knows what else going on. So there we go. So we've got that now covered. I know I like poking food. Sorry, I know it annoys some of you. Right, now we're going to put in our wine. Stock first. Stock. Sorry, lost where I was first. My son's going, stock, Mum. He's helping me out today. Now, I'm not sure if I'm going to use that full litre initially.
You've got to cover it all because it goes down.
Yeah, but this water will come down a lot because we all know how far rice expands. So what this is doing is taking all that lovely taste from the mushrooms. Let's just get that stock cube mixed in a bit more. It wasn't that successful. Now we might have to taste, well, we will have to taste this to make sure we've got enough seasoning. Now what is nice added with this is parsley. I haven't got any parsley. Marjoram would be quite nice, but not everyone grows marjoram, so I'm sticking to what most people have, and I know most of you haven't got grown mushrooms, but you can use dried mushrooms in this, or standard, maybe a chestnut mushroom would be really nice too, mixed with some dried mushrooms. So you need to use what you have. Don't be overly precious about it and experiment. I've done this in the slow cooker before and it's come up really well. You know, I left it on low all day and it actually was okay, providing you put your right amount of liquid in. I think it was about 4 hours I left it for, not all day, but because obviously you don't want it overcooking. So we're going to come back to you in a second and leave this cooking for a bit. So this has been on for 5 minutes. I'm not going to use all this alcohol because the water content looks quite high. So what I'm going to do is use half a glass of wine, and that's just white wine that I had. You can see it's very liquidy, not liquidy. There we are. Stir that in because you want to burn some of that alcohol. Some of that alcohol will burn off. Okay, and then we're going to put a plate over it. Some of you will have frying pans with lids, and you want to leave. Ooh, I don't know if that's big enough actually. Hang on. Oh yeah, we're all. I'll come back to you when I found a bigger plate. Now after searching my whole kitchen I couldn't find a plate, and after nearly dropping the plate in the pan, I usually use the pan smaller than this, but it isn't so nice. So I'm going to just, all you have to do is on quite a high heat, I'm just using a baking sheet and leave a gap for the steam to come out. Once this is, the water's reduced by half, you turn it down to a simmer, and then I'm going to have another check in a bit. So we'll come back to you so you can see where you need to take the lid off. Right, we're 8 minutes in and I've taken the lid off. So now you can see the water's gone down quite a lot. I'm going to put this on to simmer and put the lid back on. Don't go far because this isn't going to take too long. All right. So we've just had a taste. I'm going to put a little bit more pepper in because we really like pepper, as you know. And these aren't as good as the grinders. Bit of salt. It's tasting great actually. The taste of the mushrooms is really coming through. So I'm going to pop that lid on, and you can see it's the water's going. The rice is sort of expanding and taking up all that lovely flavour. 5 minutes in again, an extra 5 minutes. Now we're just going to take off the rice and try it. Now you want it to have a bite but not be raw, like I said. So I'm going to just see where we are. I would say we're about a few minutes off. Do you want to try it, Henry, and see what you think? What are we thinking? Nearly?
Yeah.
So you can see all the fluid has gone in. The taste, we've not lost any taste because we're not going to drain this off like you do normal, you know, if you're cooking rice. So it's all gone in to the rice. And it's a really reasonable meal, this. Very, very tasty. You could, like we're doing some homegrown spinach, you could pop some spinach in it. You know, you've got other options. Peas are really nice in risotto, but I'm just keeping it purely to the mushroom because it's such a lovely shiitake mushroom that I don't want to spoil it. I know I've put a bit of wine in. I've still got, I haven't been drinking the wine, I've still got half of the wine left in case I need to put a tiny little bit more you know, fluid in. But the way we're going now this is on quite a low heat. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn my heat off now because this pan stays hot for quite a while. I don't want to overcook it. So I'm just going to let it slow down because my rings are really quite hot, they're gas. So I'm going to slow it down and that will continue cooking with the heat from the pan. So really, this isn't taking us from beginning to end more than what, 20 minutes? The cooking process anyway. Right. So it's a very quick meal and it's a really good one. Like I say, if you've got any, it's good for the whole family. It's nice, you know, it's very easy for anyone to do. Good for young ones to sort of start out on. I think a lot of people think risottos are, you know, they've always think, oh, I can't make one of them. But that is how easy it is. And we've still got really nice pieces. Some of them are broken up a bit, which is fine, of the mushroom in there. So we can tell what's in there. And, you know, it looks gorgeous. So I definitely get one of those blocks again, just for the pure joy of watching them grow, knowing where they've come from. I've not had to wash them. And I'm not sure if that's right. I will check with them because obviously they've been in a bag in my house and I've just been misting them. So, you know, there's been no dogs peeing up them or weird things landing on them. So, you know, that's good because you're not losing any of the flavour through the wash as well. So I hate people tasting on a video. Have one more taste, Henry, and see where we are.
I'm talking, okay.
Couple of minutes?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to put this back on like that, and with that on, the heat should cook that through. But we are so close now, and what I'll do, I'll come back to you and show you it as we're dishing up. So we're at the end now, and I reckon we're on 25 minutes, and we've tasted it, and the ideal sort of texture is soft, but you don't want it mushy, and that's where we're at. So we're going to serve it up now. And we can't wait, can we? Right, serving up. Now I've put some mushrooms here just to remind you how beautiful they were. We've used a grated mature cheddar because we haven't got any parmesan in, and I've got a little bit of marjoram from the garden just to garnish. So here we go. There we are. Now I put in a little bit more wine. Different rices behave differently. So I just cooked off the wine again. You probably should have a tiny little bit more liquid. So, you know, base it on a litre. But obviously if you're starting to run out of liquid, add a little bit more stock because your rice may differ to mine. There we are, tiny little bit of marjoram. Let's get a spoon. And what a fantastic, nutritious, delicious meal. And that's shiitake, homegrown mushroom risotto. Thanks for watching.